Hey guys, what's up? Sage's damage over time effects no longer stack as of the final patch notes for 7.0 Dawntrail. In the media tour, we saw that there was a brand new DoT ability added called Eukrasian Dyskrasia, and that this would stack with Eukrasian Dosis, which we've had ever since Sage's launch. And so during the media tour build, we were able to, amazingly, gleefully, with much excitement, we'll talk about why that's kind of a sad thing in a second here, to even be excited about that, but we were able to stack those two effects. But as of launch, these are not stackable effects anymore. Now I want to say out of the gate is that it was obvious that it was just a 40 potency increase. And this is one of the interesting things, is because, like, for me and a lot of other people, it wasn't even necessarily that mattered. Like, we weren't looking at Sage somehow out DPSing every other healer, because to be quite frank, we know that all of the jobs, they try and balance them as closely together as possible. It's like, with all due respect, you don't see a warrior doing significantly less damage than, say, a gunbreaker. And yo, I say that as someone who loves warrior. Like, I took warrior through T and Uwu. I absolutely love the warrior. That's still my tank of choice, for better or worse. But really the main thing is, even if we look at like high level healer gameplay, like someone literally on Reddit linked me a Twitch VOD of someone clearing DSR, and the overwhelming majority of their casts were broil. And did I need a Twitch VOD to tell me that? Does anyone who's played a Scholar ever need Twitch VOD to tell them that? No, the overwhelming majority of your on GCD casts are going to be broil. Likewise, obviously with Sage, Dosis, White Mage, Glare, you get the point. And kind of for White Mage does have at least a bit more complexity, like with the Lily system, as well as Astro does have a little bit of more complexity with like the card system. And this really gets us to where I do agree with parts of the healer strike, which is when like the overwhelming majority of your casts in a fight are literally broil or Dosis or Glare or Malefic. It kind of feels a little bad. And I honestly do genuinely believe that Scholar is like the worst example of this. And so maybe I just feel a little bit more keenly. Like if I was like an Astro main, maybe I would feel a little less bad about it because I'd have the card system. But really with Scholar, the overwhelming majority really is broil. And I really hate to say it this way, but I think that this is such a unique problem that it is very hard for people who play other roles to really, I guess, conceptualize the idea that all of your game time, whether it be Expert Dungeon, whether it be Raid, is usually going to be dedicated to casting this ability and micro-optimizing your off-global cooldowns to make it so that you cast even more of this one single ability on this one single button, which for most keyboard players is probably literally the button 1. And I think because we see that difficulty in them being able to conceptualize that, hey, you're going to be pressing one button for literally hundreds if not thousands of hours for the next 2 years until the next expansion might introduce a new button. That kind of I think is what causes that disconnect about people being like, hey, healers are fine, and that anyone saying that they want more buttons is just an idiot and a loser and a degenerate, and maybe they should pick up a DPS. Well, I think that that's just like dismissive as hell. And I genuinely hope that if you think that you're also going to tell me that samurais who have like 30 times the number of damage skills as Scholars broil, that they should stop complaining about wanting chitin back. I hope that you say that proudly. But really at this point, I think it's hard to deny that the overwhelming majority of your cast in a dungeon is going to be Art of War and then Brawl Spam on a boss. Your overwhelming majority of casts in any single target content is going to be broil. And that's what the actual problem is. That we need some kind of stimulation and something to break it up. And that is why this stupid 40 potency gain on a DoT was so nice. It had nothing to do with extra damage. It had nothing to do with anything other than, hey, your gameplay gets shaken up such a small amount, but it's still shaken up. Now what I'm gonna say, maybe a little bit louder, is there's a lot of things that have been lumped into the healer strike that I personally do disagree with. I also think fundamentally the idea of ever having any kind of strike in a video game is a completely fruitless, hopeless, hapless endeavor. Like we've seen like, I'm not even gonna list it out because like as soon as I start talking about how many failed Blizzard strikes and other things, and the gamer strikes just don't work. They never work, and so I hate the word even being used. But also there's been like a bunch of weird things conflated into it, and frankly As far as I personally go with it is, yes, I would like to heal more in the game in general. I think that at level 100, a little bit more damage being dealt and asking a little bit more healing is more than fair. And then number 2 is just give me anything else on the GCD. Like, literally, I would have hoped in an ideal world just add 1 button on the GCD, and that is how desperate I am to cast anything other than Broil. So there are my full thoughts on the healer strike and where I kind of stand on it. Like, I definitely have read interesting things on the forum that I'm like, no, please don't do that. But I think the general premise of wanting more healing at level 100 is not a bad thing. But I will say I did a video saying how we probably can't do that and increase the difficulty because we don't have the tutorial systems in the game that really push people to get more familiar with their kit. Like, I am pretty confident that I have not seen another Scholar cast XCOG in an expert roulette when I'm not playing Scholar myself. Or, like, I rarely see them even pull out Seraph, and I'm just like, bro, like, that is, like, such a bonkers cooldown. Like, how are you not even pulling it out at all? And, like, I just don't see it pulled out. And it's not even just a one-off thing. I'm not thinking about a one-off example. I'm thinking, like, holy shoot, when's the last time I've seen another Scholar ever pull that out? Like, I wish I was joking right now. Now, we're deep enough in the video that I can get a little bit more tactical with Sage. So, most people at this point probably are familiar with Sage's kit, but I'm going to make sure that I don't lose anyone. So, Dosis is obviously a cast time ability, and then Sage gets stacks of Toxicon either through their single target barrier or their AoE barrier breaking on themselves. And the Toxicon is really their mobility ability that everyone thinks about as mobility ability. Same as Dosis, damage neutral. Phlegma balls, we get 2 stacks of that, and it is really, really nice. It, however, requires us to be in melee range, but the nice thing about it is that it also allows us to move without expending a Toxicon stack, obviously. As well as it's something that breaks up the GCD. The Scholar in me weeps. And yes, Numa. But Numa's more of a healing recovery tool. I view it at least as that. But what was nice about Eukrasian Dyskrasia beyond the potency, like, let's say it was completely damage neutral with Dosis, is it would have been just another mobility ability that you could have added. Like, let's say that literally the only point of it was, hey, you have no Toxicon stacks, you have no Phlegma stacks, and obviously you don't want to use Swift Cast on it, although maybe someone could make an argument for that, but I mean, sure, no one's gonna die, you could use Swift Cast on that. So Swift Cast is also down, we'll say for the sake of argument. Now, what would you have? You would have this Eukrasian Dyskrasia ability to fall back on. Or alternatively, how about this? We save our Phlegma Ball charges ideally for the raid buff window. Because, I mean, it does more damage in that raid buff window, and so it would be most optimal to use both stacks in that. So instead of, like, us using it for mobility in that kind of pinch situation, hey, now we save it, and we get even more damage out of it. And that's really where abilities like this are a lot more than, hey, it's just another button. I mean, I'm desperate for another button, but it's like, even something as basic as a instant cast that would be a little bit above damage neutral has appealing interactions like that, that has like these gameplay shifts like that. And really, seeing the double dot be removed in this instance is just such a bummer, guys. Like, how to say it? Like, I'm gonna be real here. I kind of think that having all of these neat little interactions stripped out of like the healer's kits in so many ways, like, do I want to go back to the days of cleric stance and stance dancing and Realm Reborn where we have like 4 or 5 different dots to juggle, which, yes, I remember cross-class arrow was something that, yeah, I took all the time. No, I don't think we'll ever go back to that, like, ever. I think that that was definitely a time of this game that I really did genuinely enjoy. We're never going to go back to that. However, I really don't think that it's fair or something said in good faith when you say someone be like, healers are perfectly fine and spamming one button is great and all of you are just idiots. Like, I don't think that that's said in good faith, because, like, honestly, I've been on Twitter and what a cesspool of bullshit. Like, I really don't like Twitter, guys. Like, I just think it's a toxic hellhole. But, like, when I'm on there, like, I saw some really snarky, just nasty comments, and I'm like, ew, you totally missed the point. So I don't know. I think just put them on their class, having all their buns removed to 1 and be like, hey, how do you like it? But like I think too many people focused on, oh my god, during the media tour, someone cleared like the entire dungeon and like Xeno was right beside me as he did it. How dare they? Like, it's not a novel concept, guys, that Warrior heals an absolute fridge ton. Like, we have had the meme that Warrior is a healer for a hell of a long time. This is not a new concept. And so I kind of think that everything just got lost in the sauce. Yes, obviously 4 healers can also clear a dungeon. Yes. Obviously 4 DPS probably can clear a dungeon. I don't know if I saw anyone do that. They probably could though. But like, that's totally missing the point of like, damn guys, do you want to cast one ability for the next 2 years? Me neither, but I'm still maining Scholar because I do like healing in this game, like the healing aspect in the prog, and I do love Scholar in general, but I don't know. It's just, it feels bad. It could be better. That's the thing, is it could be better. And I don't think that's a bad thing to want things to be better. Like, be mad at me all you want. I want things to just be better. I think it would be more fun. I think it'd be more engaging to have anything to shake up that GCD. And that's why it's really a shame to see these removed for Sage.